Hello everyone, welcome to Data to Info. In today's video, we will look at Python for data science and data analytics, cheat sheets. What is meant by cheat sheets? It's like important and concise explanation of important topics which can be useful for data analysis and data science purposes. Alright, we have already covered the part 1 of basics of Python. And now this will be a part 2 of that. Alright. Before moving forward, this is our website datatoinfolabs.com. Please go ahead and check this out. We write articles over here. Okay, you will find it over here. Alright, let me show you the list that we saw earlier. Okay, in this series we are going to cover these all topics one by one. This is all cheat sheets, by the way. So don't expect from me that I will tell you in-depth explanation of each and every topic. No, some of the topic might be missed. No problem. So in the Python basic, we saw part 1. Now this will be the part 2. We will cover all basic to intermediate level. All the basic level and foundation level we covered in part 1. Alright. If you haven't seen it, please go watch that. Alright. Let's go, and I would like to talk about some remaining data types and iterables that can be useful in our studies of data analysis or data science. So in earlier video, we saw about list, I think, right? So what is list basically? It's like an order that are, it's like an item. A list of items are like ordered. It's changeable, means you can mute it, means mutable. It's changeable, it's mutable, it's ordered, and it's also allows duplicate values inside it. That is what the list is, right? It also allows any data type you can include in it. Any data type like string, integer, the Boolean value. Even you can put any function, or you can put any variable as well. Alright. So how to run it? See, the list can be implemented using square brackets. And you can run it like this. Okay. Once you understand list, there is a concept called list comprehension. I want to tell you about this as well. What is list comprehension? List comprehension, nothing but it basically offers you a very, very shorter syntax when you want to create a new list based on the values of existing list. Understood? Based on the values of existing list, if you want to create a new list, you can create it using list comprehension. So this one is a very, very common topic for interview purpose as well. They ask you, do you know about the list comprehension? Please tell. Because in data analysis or data science, writing the code in very concise manner or optimal manner is very, very important. Because there are very, very long codes of long algorithms and all those stuff. So we need very less line of codes. Alright. So see, for example of this list comprehension, we have fruits as the new list. I mean the original list. In those original list, we have list of fruits. Okay. Using list comprehension, I make the for loop and if statement in one line only. Okay. So I made this a shorter syntax for loop and if statement. What do I have to find out using for loop and if statement? I have to find out if in any of these items, if any of these elements contains A in it. If it contains A, it will take that item into the new list that we are creating, and we are printing that new list like this. We are printing this new list. See, I have already written this codes so that the time won't get wasted. Alright. What is about tuple then? What is about tuple? Now tuple is little different than list. Okay, but it is very, very useful as well. A tuple is nothing but it's a collection which is ordered and unchangeable. What is meant by unchangeable? Means you cannot, it's not a mutable, it's immutable. You cannot change it. Okay, so this immutable, mutable, change, unchangeable, these words can be used, so don't get confused. Okay, it is also ordered, as I said. Okay, so whatever order you put in, whatever orders, the items you insert in it, it will show you in that order only. Alright. So there is a very common question regarding tuple, that is, can you create a tuple of one atom only, of one element only? The answer is yes. Look at here. There is only one value inside this tuple. Tuple can be created using round brackets, right? The list can be created using square brackets, but tuple can be created using round brackets. Alright. So the tuple can be created with one value only, but there is a trick. You have to put this comma after it. So it will give you the illusion to the Python that it's a tuple. It's a tuple. So you can create more than what we can say. You can create, let's say, run this. See, you can create a tuple with one element or with multiple elements as well. No problem. But you cannot do the same thing without the comma. Okay, you have to put the comma. Alright. What is about the set? Now, set is also very, very important when it comes to, what we can say, remove the duplicates from a list or set of iterables. Okay. Now, these are all are iterables. List are iterable, tuple are iterable, dictionary, set are iterable. Iterable means the sequence of elements into it. Okay. Those are iterable. We can iterate through it. Alright. So what is set, by the way? What is set? Set is nothing but it's like a collection which is unordered. Now there is no particular order to it. Okay. It is unordered. It is unchangeable. You cannot change it. Okay. Once you implement it, once you create it, you cannot modify it. And it's unindexed as well. Means you won't find any index to it. If it is not ordered, it is not indexed as well. There is one more thing, that the duplicate values are not allowed in the set. It's strictly not allowed in the set. Okay. But in case of list, there can be a duplicate values. But in case of set, you cannot have a duplicate value. The set can be written inside curly brackets. Set of values can be written inside curly brackets. Alright. Okay. So let's say this is an example of a set where we have a set. We have created a set inside a curly brackets. We name this set value as fruits. Okay. There are a set of fruits. Now the set can be useful for membership testing or eliminating duplicate entries. Right. So what is meant by membership testing? See, this is called a membership testing, and this one is also called the membership testing. Means to find out whether the particular item present in the set or not. Just like this, the banana is in the fruit set or not. If it is there, it will return me true. If kiwi is in fruit set or not. If it is there, it will return me true. Otherwise, it will return me false. Okay. The same thing we are doing, we are implementing in terms of for loop as well. The same thing we are doing. Okay. If it is in the fruits, okay, so it will say that fruit is in the set, or else it will not in the set. Okay. Let me run this one. See, values are true and false. The apple is in the set. The kiwi is not in the set. Likewise. Alright. Okay. Very good. That is enough for set. Let's move towards the dictionary then. Our dictionary is also one of the very, very important type of data types or iterables, we can say. Okay. What is dictionary basically? It's nothing but a key value pair. There is one a key, and then there is a value associated with it. A dictionary is nothing but like a collection which is ordered. Now you will say, in case of set, there is no order, but in case of dictionary, there is order. Now this is the difference. This can be again a question for interview, that what is the difference between set and dictionary. Okay. So dictionary, there is a order to it. It is ordered according to the key values, not a value, the keys of it. Okay. It is changeable. You can change it, but there is no duplicate values are allowed inside dictionary. Okay. Dictionary can be written inside the curly brackets like a set, but there is a key value. That is the different thing. Right? There is a key value. See, you can run it like this. Very, very simple. So these are the 3 to 4 iterables that you can check that out and work on it. Okay, list, understand about the list comprehension. Then there is a tuple, then there is a set and dictionary. Okay, then there is a frozen set as well, but they are not mostly get asked, so don't worry about it. Next thing is that I want to tell you about some Python functions, because it is also very important topic in case of data science or data analytics. What is Python functions, by the way? It's like a function is like a block. Function is like a block of code which only runs when it is called. You have to first create a function definition and then you have to call that function. I will tell you. Please take a look at these codes. I have already written some codes examples. I will just explain you one by one. Okay. Now look at this normal definition of function. Normal definition. How do you define a function? Using def keyword. In Python, you will define using def keyword, then function name, then brackets and colon. With the indentation mark, you will put your statements inside the function, right? And then you will call it. Then you will call it using that function name. Once you call it, whatever statements inside that function or expressions inside that function will get executed, right? As simple as that. So if you understand this, then let me go ahead and tell you about the arguments. What are the arguments? There is a very common question. What is the difference between arguments and parameters? See, whatever you give inside these brackets, let's say I give a value as 5. Okay. So whatever value you give at the time of calling it, at the time of calling the function, that's called the arguments. At the time of definition of the function, it's called the parameter. Now this is the parameter. X is a parameter. 5 is an argument. Okay. So please remember this. So 5 will be passed to the X, and X can be used inside this print statement. Okay. X can be used inside this print statement like this. Now the 5 will get printed. You can write any expression regarding this, by the way. So this is called the argument and parameter. Alright. If you understand this, let me talk about the arbitrary arguments. What is meant by arbitrary arguments? Okay. See, I have here passed only one argument. Only one argument. Okay. But let's see if I don't have any idea that how many arguments can be passed by function calling person. So in that case, what do? I just create a star argument, arbitrary argument we call it. In that case, see, in this second example, I have passed 3 different string arguments, 3 different string values. Okay. But at the time of receiving, I did not have 3 different values, 3 different parameters to it. Okay. So instead of that, what I did, I put these star marks. You can put args or any other value, no problem. But you have to put this star. It will give you the illusion to the Python that you have passed multiple arguments at the time of calling. Now you can use those multiple arguments inside your definition as many times as you want, as many ways as you want, right? So this is the arbitrary arguments. So what is about the arbitrary keywords arguments? Now you must be familiar with the concept of key and value. So key is equal to value. You can give the value directly, no problem, at the time of calling the function only. See, please let me run the above one first. Okay. Now let me run the below as well. See, the keyword arguments is when you have to give the values as well for the keys. You don't just give the values, you give the values as well as the keys as well. Okay. So this is what called the keyword arguments. When you also send arguments with the key value syntax, that is what it is, So this is the basic difference. In the both case, we use stars only. In arbitrary arguments, we use only 1 star. In arbitrary keyword arguments, we use 2 stars. So that is the different thing. Alright. So this is about the basics of Python functions and arguments. Alright. Let me go ahead and talk to you about the decorators as well. because this is one of the most asked questions in high level advanced interview questions, we can say. Okay, so what is decorators basically? Let me show you some of the codes that I have written for you to explain the decorators. I have 3 different examples for you. So each example, if you understand it, you will get to know about the decorators. Okay, what is decorator basically? Let me tell you the definition of it. Okay, in Python, decorator is nothing but it's like a pattern. It's like a design pattern that allows you to modify the functionality of a function by wrapping it in another function. What did I say? It allows you to modify or add the functionality of a function. It modifies the functionality of a function by wrapping it into another function. So before knowing the decorator, you should be familiar with the concept of nested function. What do I mean by nested function? Nested function is nothing but function inside a function. Function can be implemented inside another function. Function can be passed as a parameter to another function. Please understand this. Function can be passed as a parameter to another function. See, at this piece of code, just have a look at this piece of code. Now this function is passed as a parameter. Okay, now this parameter is called inside this inner function. See, this is the inner function and this is the outer function. Okay, make pretty is the outer function and inside that there is a inner function also running. Okay, the outer function is called the decorator. The outer function is called the decorator, which takes the original function as an argument, and returns a modified version of it. What does it do? It returns the very, very modified version of it. What do I mean by that? It's very simple. Let's say you have a function, a very, very ordinary function. Let's say this is the function, ordinary function you have. Okay, and you also have one decorator function. On the top. So what is ordinary function do? Ordinary function thinks that, okay, I have one statement with me, but what I want is that I want to modify my answers. I want to add something else extra to my answers. So what I will do, I will call this decorator function and ask him that, can you add something extra to my statements? And it will say, yes, I can modify your statements. I can add something extra to your code, resultant code. Okay, so this ordinary function will be passed to this decorator function. Okay, and it will return you some modified code. Now this is very, very ordinary function, normally we call it. Okay, there is no what we can say decorator function we used in this piece of code. Okay, in this example one, let me run this. One. If we call this ordinary function over here, I can see the value inside whatever the values we wrote or whatever statements we write inside that ordinary function. We can see that only. We are not able to see anything from the decorator that we have created. Okay, we are not able to see anything from the decorator. Now let's go towards the example 2, where we will use of the decorator function. We will make use of this decorator function. See, now this ordinary function is there. So I will pass this ordinary function to this decorator function. How do I do that? See this statement. I am passing this ordinary function to this decorator function. Okay, and putting it into a variable function. Now this is the variable. Now this variable will act as a function. Okay, this variable will act as a function. And now I can call that variable function. So what is the flow of it? Let me just run it and show you. See, this is the answer. Now what is the flow of it? See, once this function is called, it will go over here. It will look for this function. It will then go to the make pretty function, which is a decorator function, which is our decorator function. Inside this decorator function, there is a inner function as well. We call it wrapped function. We call it wrapped function. This is a inner function which has the extra statement into it. It has the extra statement into it. Okay. See, I still haven't gone into this ordinary function. Okay. I am on the decorator function. So it will print whatever inside the decorator function, and it will call that argument. It will call this argument that we passed as a function. So it will look for this argument. It will look for this argument. What is this argument, man? So it will find that there is another function as an argument. It will go to that function and return whatever inside that function. Right? So in that way, first I got decorated, and then I am ordinary. Okay. This is the order of decorator function. This is the order of a decorator function. Now see, I can make use of decorator function without writing this statement. Without writing this statement. How? I have to make use of @ symbol with the decorator. I have to make use of the @ symbol of the decorator. See, @ symbol. How to do that? You just have to write the @ symbol, and it will call that decorator function. The entire decorator function will be called when we write the @ symbol and the name of the decorator function. And you can just now simply call your ordinary function as you used to call in the Python and run this. It will give you the same result. It will give you the same result that you used to give. Okay? You got it, right? It's very, very simple. It's very, mostly intermediate level to the advanced level interviews, they ask you about the decorator. Okay. For beginners, they mostly avoid it, but sometimes they ask. So that's why I thought I should clear this out. What next? I can tell you about one more function, that is zip function. That is zip function, which is also very, very important, I think. In terms of one or two interviews, I also find that for some of the students, they got asked for a zip function as well. Okay. So let's do this. First of all, let me talk about the definition of zip function. All right. In Python, zip function, it creates an iterator. It creates an iterator that will aggregate elements from two or more iterables. From two or more iterables. What is iterable means? As I told you in this data type, list is a iterable, tuple is a iterable, set is a iterable, dictionary is a iterable. You can iterate through the iterables. Okay, that is what the iterable is. Okay. So let me tell you about the zip function where you don't have to pass any arguments. Passing no arguments to the zip function. This is what the zip function look like. Okay. If you create a zip function without any arguments and you passed it to a variable. Now see, without converting it into a list, if I run this one, you will get an object. You will get a zip object. Okay. You have to convert this object. Into a list so that you will get the values. You have to convert it into a list. So once you convert it into a list, you will get an empty list. Why empty list? Because I haven't passed anything, any parameters or any arguments inside the zip function. Let's say we passed one argument to a zip function. So this argument is a iterable, always a iterable. Let's say this iterable is a list. Okay. We have a list with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Okay. And we store this list into a list variable. And we pass that list variable, this iterable, to this zip function. Now, what will happen? If I run this, it will give me a list of tuples. See, inside those, there is a tuple. Now, in these tuples, there is only one value to it. So, in case of zip, the zip can be useful when you passed it at least two iterables, at least two list, we can say. Okay. So let's say we pass two lists, more than two lists or two lists, at least two lists. Okay. So I have two lists with me. First one is a numbers, list of numbers. Second one is a list of letters, A, B, C, D, like this. Okay. So let's say I zip this together. So first numbers, then letters, comma letters. So what will happen? It will give me a tuple with the values A, 1A, 2B, 3C, likewise. Okay. What? 1A, 2B, 3C, likewise. Okay. So let's see, just run this one and it will give me a list of tuples of the length and n is how many number of iterables you have. We have 2 number of iterables. So n value is 2. So that's why the tuple value is also 2. We can create another like other list. Let's say I want it to be 1.1, comma 2.2. The float values inside it 3.3, likewise. Okay. If I pass this iterable as well to the zip, you can do that. See, likewise. It will give me the list of tuples with the length as 3. Why 3? Because we passed 3 iterables to it. Right? As simple as that. Okay. Let me show you another example that can be real close to what you will experience in terms of data analysis. Is that, let's say you have a data frame, you have a data set, and in that data set you have some columns, 2 different columns. Let's say there is one column for total sales, there is some values in the total sales. Then there is another column called production cost, then there is some values in the production cost. And you want to figure out whatever the profit you made. You want to figure out what is the profit you made. So what is the formula for profit? The formula for profit is total sales minus production cost. Means sales minus cost. Basically, sales minus cost is a profit. So this sales value can be minused. This cost value can be minused from the sales value. Cost value can be minused from the sales value. Likewise. So I converted it into a zip function. And wrote the formula profit is equal to sales minus cost, and I will get the total profit for each and every value. So likewise, you can make use of this zip function. Very, very useful, right? Okay, very good. Now moving forward, I want to understand, let's say, in terms of data analysis, there are 2 more functions that are mostly used. First one is Lambda function. This is the Python Lambda function. And another one is, there is apply function in Pandas. Okay. Apply function in Pandas. Lambda and apply function. So we will make use of this and try to understand what it is. Okay. So we have some examples written over here. So I will try to explain you one by one what it is. First of all, what is the definition of Lambda function? Lambda function is called as anonymous function. A small anonymous function. What is meant by anonymous function? The function which do not have its own name to it. The function which do not have its own name to it, that is anonymous function. A Lambda function can take any number of arguments. See, the Lambda function can take any number of arguments, but it can have only one expression. So, and this is separated by a colon. So before colon, there is number of arguments. You can put any number of arguments, A, comma, B, comma, C, likewise. Okay, any number of arguments you want. Right now, I have only one number of arguments. But after colon, there is an expression. You can have only one expression in the Lambda function. Total one expression only. Okay, that is the rule. So instead of writing the functions that are not anonymous, you have to write a lot of lines of code. But in case of Lambda function, you can write it in the short form, right? In the one line only. So write the Lambda function. This is the argument, A argument. Let's say I want to add something into that argument, A plus 10, whatever the A value is there. And now I've stored it into a variable. Once I call that function variable and pass the input value as 5, then 5 will go to this A input variable. Okay, argument and A plus 10, that is 5 plus 10 will be 15, and 15 will be returned. If I run this, see, 15 will be returned. This is how the working of simple Lambda function. The simple Lambda function working is like this. Now you can use the Lambda function mostly with the apply function. The apply function comes in the Pandas library. Okay. What is apply, by the way? What is apply? Apply function calls the lambda function and applies it to every row or column of the data frame. What it does, whatever changes you made, let's say some of the transformations you do on the data frame, all right, or some pre-processing stuff you do, like the data cleaning part and all the stuff. Okay, so whatever you have done, it applies that to every row and every column of the data frame and returns a modified copy of the data frame. Okay, so apply can apply a function along any axis of the data frame. What is meant by axis? Like axis 1 or axis 0 means horizontally or vertically, row or column wise. That is what I mean. So see this example over here. I have to first import a panda to use. I have to first import a panda. Okay. Then I have to create a data frame, a dummy data frame I have created with 4 columns. Column is ID column is there. Then there is a name column is there. Then there is a age column is there. Okay. The age values of a person. Then there is income column is there. Then there is a income column is there. These are 4 columns. Let me show you this data frame. Let me show you print this data frame first. Once you run this is the data frame. Okay. Now the question is, how can I apply the function? So it comes like this. The syntax comes like this. Data frame dot apply. Inside apply, you have to write lambda function, comma, axis 0 or axis 1, whatever it is. Okay. So these are only 2 parameters comes under apply function. First one is the lambda function, comma, second one is the axis. Okay. The lambda function, where let's say we want to do changes to, let's say, this data frame in the age column. Let's say in the age column, the values are these. Okay. So I want to add 3 to each of the ages. Let's say 20 plus 3, 25 plus 3, 15 plus 3, likewise. I want to add the number 3. I'm just giving you a demo over here. So this is how I am doing it using lambda function. Just adding 3 to it. Just adding 3 to this column, age column. Okay. Comma, axis is equal to 1. What is meant by axis is equal to 1? Axis is equal to 1 means this plus 3 will be applied to each and every row, to each and every elements of the row, like the 0th row, 1st row, 2nd row, 3rd and 5th row as well, 4th row as well, likewise. Okay, if I wrote 0, then it's a column wise. That is what it means. If I run this one as well and try to show you the values of this age column. See, 3 has been added to each and every row. 3 has been added, the value 3. This is what it is. Okay. This is how you can use the lambda function with the apply function. Right? The anonymous function with the apply function. Alright. Before moving forward, I want to show you see, these are the functions like filter function, map function and reduce function. These are very, very common questions to ask in data analysis or data science interviews as well. So it's like an intermediate level to the advanced level questions they come. Alright. So what is the filter function? We can use lambda functions with the filter function as well. How? Let's say we have this data frame. Let me show you this data frame over here. Let me run this data frame. See this data frame. Okay. Now at this place, let's see how many these people are above the age 18. Now how many people has the age more than 18? So I have to filter this data. Once you get the idea of filtering, you use the filter function. To filter this data. Now inside this filter function, I have given two parameters. First one is a lambda function. Okay. Inside this function, I have written the expression that x is equal to 18. I want to know the person's which are more than 18's age, okay, more than age of 18. And I have to put this expression, this filtered expression, only on the column age. So that is why after comma, I have put the name of that column. Okay. And I converted it into a list. At the end, I have converted it into a list. Okay. So just run this one and you will get a list of age numbers that are more than 18. That are more than 18. Okay. So you can just convert it into any of the, you can put it into a data frame as well. So no problem. Okay. So this is what the Lambda with the filter function. What about the map function? What about the map function? What does map function do? This map function actually maps the series according to input correspondence. What is meant by that? Input correspondence. Let me show you. It can map it with the series. Now let's say with this data frame again, let me show you this data frame again. In this data frame, let's say we want to increase the salary. This income column is there. This income column is there, okay, for each and every person. Let's say we want to increase the income of each and every person by 20%. By 20% in this Pandas data frame. Okay. So how to do that? We have to map to each and every values of this income column. So just have a look at this. The map function is there. Okay. From here to here, this map function is there. Inside the map function, we have put the two parameters. First one is the Lambda function. And second one is the column of that data frame. The income column of the data frame. On this income column, we have to put this expression. Okay. What is the expression? Expression is that we have to give the 20% hike, right? The 20% increase in the salary income. So multiplied with the 0.2 only. So this is the normal expression you can do. Okay. And I converted it into a list. And put it back to the column input. Column income. Okay. Once I run this block and show you the income column only. So you will see the 20% increase in the values of the income column. Right? 20% increase in the values of income column. So this map function basically maps the series. Now, see, I have taken only the income column. So it becomes a series, right? It becomes a series. So it maps the series according to the input correspondence. Whatever the input was there, it goes to each and every row. Each and every row of this series, this input income series, and for each and every value, it applies this map function. What map function does is that it takes this Lambda function and implement on each and every value, and give you the result. This is what it does. Alright. So if you understand the working of filter function with Lambda, map function with Lambda, let me tell you about the last one, that is the reduce function with Lambda. Now this is also very, very important. Okay. These three functions comes together only: filter, map, and reduce. Alright. So what is reduce function then? What is reduce function? When it is used? It is used to apply particular function to the list of elements. Let's say you have a sequence. Let's say you have a list, and in that list you have a list of elements, and you want to apply a particular function to that list of elements. You will use the reduce function. It is mostly used to find the sum of any elements, the sequence of elements in the list, So it's used mostly for that. So let's take a scenario. That in this our data frame, let me print this data frame again. In this data frame, what we can say? Let's see, we want to calculate the total income. We want to calculate this income column, the total of this income column. Means we have to sum the each and every value inside this income column. How to do that? Using reduce function, we can do this. Okay. we have to pass the lambda function. Inside lambda function, the expression is a plus b, right? A plus b, because we have to pass two arguments here. I will show you why two arguments, and I have to apply it on the income column, correct? How does that happen? How does that happen? First, let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 values we have inside this income column. Okay. So 1, B, C, D, E. This is 5 values. Okay. I'm giving you the demo explanation of it. So the first two values, A and B, that is 4800 and 8400. These two values get together and add itself. So a total is calculated. Now that resultant total gets added with the third value. Now the total of these three values will get added to the fourth value. Likewise, it goes and goes on. So that's why we took the two arguments only. With the two arguments, we can write the expression. Okay. So this is what it is. So I think I pretty much told you about the most important functions that we can use in Python for data science purposes and data analysis purposes as well. Okay. So let me know in the description down below that if you think that you missed anything, because also again, it is possible that I missed something. Of course, I can't cover everything into this video because this is a cheat sheet video, So we have to be very, very particular about what we pick up and what we don't. All right. So if you are going for any interview or any exam, you just watch these videos and you are good to go. Now, this is the Python for data science and data analytics cheat sheet. If you like it, please hit that subscribe button. Also like this video and let me know in the comments down below that how you are doing. I have also attached the WhatsApp channel link in the description. Please check that out. And till then, as always, peace out.
पहन के फूल खिला है, फूल खिला है। अरे चड्डी पहन के फूल खिला